Yeah, I think it's I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy for this, but like I'm not insanely like, oh, there's massive names on St. John's. They're just a very, very
Yeah.
solid team, a very, very good team. But I mean the players are very good, even if they don't have like the most popping names, they have just been consistently good and so far it's given them that 12-2 record. Uh I don't think that's gonna stop anytime soon. I don't think that's gonna stop against Rider University. So we'll see what Ryder is able to try and accomplish, and if it's enough to kind of push them, maybe get a map or two here. Because like just that's like a realistic expectation. I think going in, not every match is going to be one you are going to be expected to win. So, just getting what you can when you can is kind of the play here.
With it being night markets of Li Zhang Tower, at least we're going to be walking back into that room of comfortability, and especially with what teams tend to run, honestly, it's a map that I love, and especially when it comes down to teleporting into that main point, Doomfish versus Cassidy's, that's going to be the big point.
Yeah, and I think definitely this both teams going out with the rush style is expected. Kind of makes sense. It's gonna be Doom versus Cassie is a big difference. The Doom allows you to get those insta kills going very early, get some disruption going in. Actually, faster TP gonna come out from Ryder doesn't help them win this fight.
Yeah, that punch does knock Grizzly a little bit far away. However, Keys is going to get the first pick. It's an even trade, but look at this. St. John's, they're the ones taking full control over to the point. As Rangers not able to peel in for Grizzly, they aren't going to fall down. It just seems St. John's able to stay together. They're going to be able to capture this point first.
Yep, gonna be capturing this point first. Gonna be setting themselves up, and this is where it gets really dangerous. A lot of the time here, if you lose first point with the symmetric comp, you swap off sim. It's so hard to get back in. Your TPs are just gonna get TP bombed, or just gonna get kind of exploded every single time. You're never gonna have an opportunity to get in. You kind of go, okay, wall, and then swap off. So they're gonna be trying to get wall, try to get themselves on point, but if they go fast enough here with the window for Liam, it might just be too fast for them to react.
We see as they're taking their time. They're coming up on that wall, and Keys is definitely looking to use it as Grizzly's own shield is unfortunately, the moment that they peek out, they immediately get melted down. We see the side step with the shatter. It is not really going to land. So if you stay in fast go, they're going to be able to start walking into their opponents and, well, clean up this fight. Finding out that mech, absolutely massive for this.
Yep, Steiger could come through. Ranger trying to get ult back as soon as possible. Just gonna get uppercutted to make sure that they don't get back into mech. And again, now on this defense, you're gonna have ultimates to set yourself up to stall out a fight if you need it, right? If they start engaging on, you have the ability to wall defensively or wall aggressively if you want to split them and allow for the engage. Looks like because of where the Doomfist is, it looks like they want to go aggressive here on the corner. That's exactly what they're gonna do.
Look at that, they really want to fight it. Shatter goes through, it may be blocked in the charge, finding out the high noon onto Sagi. I mean, the wall still would have been able to protect them, but that's one flash away to stop your opponents from getting an advantage. Sandbear used a little too late to peel for the team, but they're able to flat out escape. That's what's important right now. It's just sustaining your own team that is up.
Yeah, just kind of sustaining your own team right now is super important. And again, looking at ultimates here, you're gonna have a beat advantage. I mean, you win that fight, you get the beat out of Twitch, and you don't have to use it yourself. The bomb is a bit misplaced. I think that might have been a TP bomb, but not gonna find anything. And somehow point flips, but they're definitely on the back foot.
And, well, though they managed to get themselves onto the point, they've left their own backline open. Soggy is one of those big points. Unfortunately, though, with Nifty Beans falling in, well, your own self, it's not going to be working well. Interesting charge. You almost fall, but you managed to get behind the Reinhardt shield. The Shatter going through, going to be a little too high to hit that Baby Diva. But at 93%, and you're not a full unit, you have to run on that point, and it's not going to be feeling too good. I mean, already Grizzly gets countercharged before they have a chance. Farah, the Keys, is going to be able to land on, but they have the sound barrier, meaning that, well, Soggy can shoot that Baptiste all you want, but you're not going to even get a dent of health. Just standing still, letting it happen. I truly respect it as the punch goes on to the Diva, not going to be able to survive St. John's. They're going to be winning out when it comes to Night Market.
Yep, I'm gonna win out Night Market. once they set up on that point, you see them stay way too long onto the Symmetra for Ryder, and a little bit too late on the swaps. And again, it's just very hard to push that point as the Symmetra comp, because once the enemy sim is set up, you don't really have angles to get in. You have to use resources to walk in, and they can save resources for when you walk in and then counter engage. It's just a really rough time. And then even there, St. John's was actually just playing aggressive, because as they were coming out of chokes, they can get the pinches off with the Doomfist, which is why the Doomfist is kind of a strong play there. Is they have angles to play from, punches to go for. Their uppercuts are obviously going to be massive in terms of disrupting your team. So we'll see if they swap anything over onto Control Center. I doubt we keep the Hog. I think that would just not be the play into a double spam, because yeah, even then, like Zarya, it's like you're gonna get a lot of charge, but are you gonna be able to get the damage off before your team is dead is the question. Before the DM might just be able to save more damage.
Well, I have to see, though, the Fire Strike, you really wish. I think you make a great point, as Shelton is able to get so much value, and, well, the rest of St. John's really aren't going to be feeling too good. That's play of the game worthy right there.
So, yeah, you got charge, you got 80 charge, but then your team died to Fire Strikes and spam. Like, that's why Zarya isn't played even in comps like this. Like, it was before, like previously, like, I mean, many years ago, where it was like, oh, Zarya is good because you can get a lot of charge off of it, but you can't do anything with the charge. And then sometimes the damage just doesn't matter if you have charge or not. There's just too much damage coming into your face.
Ryder are still going strong. We already see as they're putting pressure against the shields and Eats. However, Ranger, Twitch, the Shatter lands. It's just not feeling good. You may have built up to 84%, but immediately you're going back to 0.
And that's why you really see D.Va. Like, that's why D.Va's here. That's why Sigma isn't even, like, the permanent on this map, on, like, a spam map, because sometimes it's just too much damage. And even Sigma has the option of having a DM-like ability with the grass, but, I mean, yeah, that's a little bit too aggressive there from Fiscal. You know this M is going to come through, but, I mean, this fight's already been over. It's kind of been over since they walked into this room, so... I mean, again, it's why D.Va is so meta and has been meta, is because DM is a kind of one-of-a-kind ability in terms of the damage mitigation it gives, while also having range and uptime on it. Right? It's not a cooldown; it is like a toggle. So that alone gives it presence. I mean,
it is definitely strong. We see that bomb. It's curved. Will it get somebody? Yeah, I'm a little too eager to say. However, it does seem that Grizzly actually falls off the map. Not gonna be a shining point. But hey, there's Poke still. They're gonna have that TP in. The rest of the team seem to want to push in off of it, but not remembering that their turrets does slow them down, giving their opponents the ability to go back onto the point. Ryder need a moment, a reason to walk in, but they are down too, and still fighting this battle in one fight territory. That's not the best sign.
Yeah, and there it goes, right? You finally start seeing them finally fall. You have 6 ults almost, 5 ults basically, but will you get them off before this point ends? That's like the big thing. It's like, do they just play faster? I think if you are here, you just play fast. They can't even touch. It has to be Twitch to hit like a massive rollout. They can't even do that. So that's gonna be the first point, and St. John's is kind of proving why they are that 12-2 team right now.
They look absolutely incredible, though I still would love to give props to Ryder. You know, I definitely can see why you run that Zarya and why they ran, but eventually it came down to just respawns and how they were working as a unit to kind of bring this out. They technically only had one clean fight. After that, wasn't really room to be able to walk in, as we see Fascal able to take that play of the game. So now we kind of get to sit here and look at what the possibilities of Ryder University, what do they really need to do to kind of break this up? I feel that when they were at least stacked together, they could have taken those fights pretty evenly. How about you?
I mean, like going to Hollywood, I think on defense, if we run someone with a double shield, you have spam. I mean, they have good pieces, right? We saw it even in the match last week against Quinnipiac. I mean, Soggy and Keys are great DPS players for them. Kind of play more towards compositions that are about the DPS and like setting them up. So double shield definitely does that. I think that might be more of a benefit here for Ryder University, but I don't know if they play that. I've really only, if I'm not mistaken, seen them play a lot of that rush compositions. So, especially on a map like Hollywood, which isn't good for rush, I wonder what they've been practicing there. And what they will end up going towards, but I think trying to set up their DPS and play more like a DPS centric game. But even saying that, Fiscal, and if you stay, it's like they're still really great DPS players themselves. So It's gonna be hard no matter what. It's just a rough situation when like a team like St. John's is like so drilled and so well versed on things. It's like, what do we do against them? Well, do you play standard and they're just better at standard than us? Do we have to go wacky? Well, what if our wacky thing is just not good, or they played against the wacky thing before? It's like it's always a toss.
For me, I definitely feel that wackiness could go into their favor. Not every team is able to fully adapt on the spot. St. John's are one of those teams who can, at least from here and there of moments that I've seen from them. So I can definitely agree to that idea. However, it's still all they need is one map. That's really all that matters into Overwatch. I think the one map kind of rule always means something because all it takes is that one map to swing momentum in your favor, ruin the chances of your opponents, not only to get into playoffs, but maybe even play to the best of their ability. We've seen it through every level, and I definitely feel Rider University, they can pull it out. The next map is going to be Hollywood, so as a hybrid itself, does that feel possible? We've looked all tonight and we've got to see snowballs, high aggression. St. John's are one of those teams who are willing to go forward. How does Ryder kind of slow that down and stop it?
I think it might just be I think it might just be a situation where if Ryder has a bad first fight and it's not clean enough to the point where they get to have a second point hold on first high ground, they could get rolled if St. John's is able to take second high ground. So like basically how it works is the first high ground where you go up the elevator and you get up there and you have to walk across the bridge over to the other high ground. Like that first high ground there is super important on the defense for a first hold, and then having and then trying to get back out on a retake. But if they stagger out their first defense, right, and they end up having staggered spawns and they are unable to hold that first high ground or even the second high ground, it could just be a snowball from there where St. John's pushes up second high ground, has some kind of spam character, a Hanzo or something up there with a Diva and a Mercy, and they're not able to remove that 3-man threat, and they just kind of get rolled by the off angles.
Wonder. Your hypotheticals do have great standings, but will they come out to be true? That's something we're going to need the crystal mirror for. Right now, at least when it comes down to the present, okay, I've got mixed feelings. I'm immediately looking at what St. John's are doing. If you stay on the Doomfist, but they have an Ashe and they're running double shield, if you stay, are they going to have like any peel or sustain? I mean, you're kind of like working off of your opponents to make those mistakes, right?
If they run this composition, I will just say rotations are going to be a nightmare. They have nothing to. I mean, rotates are going to come through. You're going to get dynamited, and you're going to take 1 billion damage, and you're not going to be able to proc Inspire because they're 2 billion miles away from you, and then your entire team is going to take so much burn damage. It's going to take 2 decades to get it back up. It really matters is, I guess that, but also if they get the Inspire procs off. I mean, I don't quite know how that happens when you have Grasp and everything else, but it happened.
We do see the res come out. If you stay, does end up falling butt coffee in that trade. You're not paying attention to Ranger, who's been a player and is showing why you should always look out. As you manage to find out, the Sigma now put pressure onto the Orisa. Doesn't have much staying power onto the point, trying to back out, but getting CC to all death. Your team is just barely able to escape. Look at that. Ranger builds up to the Dragon, splitting them off. The Orisa has to be the one to touch the point, but they just decide they don't even want to try it. They just give it up for free. So look at that, best possible option for Ryder.
I guess it doesn't matter if your rotations are awful if you never have to rotate ever into a spam because you instantly pick the Sigma. So, like you said, kind of playing off some mistakes, but now first high ground defense set up. It was a clean loss. They get out of there and they just reset. So they're going to have to defend this. Can they remove them from it?
Absolutely. That's the feeling that I'm always going to be having in my heart. We already see them using the Widowmaker to pop off anybody that peeks, especially with the Dynamite's help. It's just enough chip damage to not only find 2 picks, but then if you stay, can pick off any of the stragglers. We're seeing as the Cassidy, the Reinhardt just want to try and escape. They leave themselves open. Poor soul, I'm glad we got off the camera, but you gotta switch when Fasco's on screen. I mean, that was a little bit too graphic for my heart to take.
I mean, Ranger just takes out both DPS. They're going to have res available, Widows coming back, but they're still going to be able to hold this high ground if they decide to. I believe it's Sigma on point. The Sigma needs to get out of there because they will get run over because of Transcendence. now they're able to actually just like fully commit to a brawl with that trans and try to just get into the enemy's face. But there's gonna be so many angles. I wonder if they're gonna be able to actually get on top of anyone unless they just run away.
I mean, they're already looking to. Fortunately, Keys is going to fall. The Transcendence able to keep up the rest of the team against both a Bob. Oh, not in the range of that, and I was going to say the Bongo, but it was just enough damage, and, well, it was ending out. We see them pushing up. That's a smart play from the Orisa, making sure to go in. Unfortunately, you leave yourself open, not only to the Dragons, giving them space, but the Shatter, which helps take out 3. And the point continues to push for Rioter, even if Ranger does fall.
Yeah, and they're gonna be able to keep going, but if you stay, finding 2, kind of making this costly, could have just lost their life there if that 5 strike does hit. Maybe overpeaking a little bit. They have wall hacks on them really in the Discord, so it's gonna be a bit rough. And now on this retake, what you're really looking for is the Flux. It comes out, just force out the Zen.
It's what they're looking. Poor souls. They were managing to get a good push in, but unfortunately, it's going to be one ultimate that slows it down entirely. The High Noon does find out Mr. Koala Man, but in the end, you don't really have the team to help follow up on it.
Yeah, don't have the follow-up. Ranger's still getting a lot of picks right now. This is a little dangerous if they keep committing and Ranger keeps finding things. Finally take out the Brigida. Now it's going to be reset. And again, I think we're going to see a fast window come out from Liam, and then see if that can build up other ultimates like the High Noon and such, and that's going to allow them to try and win this fight. But really, it's kind of an uphill battle. You're going up against this Brigida rally and the Flux, and both those in combination can kind of win a fight for you. So they could just kind of brute force this one.
I still don't know if you stays taking that off angle while Keys is gonna get picked off, trying to escape from that fight. That rally is stuck in one spot, though giving them extra armor. It's taking a lot to go in. You pop in with the Flux, leaving your Brig to fight and push that point alone. That's not gonna be the best thing, though Koala falling down is absolutely a plus. With the Widowmaker not having really anybody to help, they have to disengage, give up some space to Shatter, able to take out Jolton, but Faskel's able to trade pretty evenly. The best part is that, well, they have Soggy, the big shield, and they have the Doomfist still going in. Unfortunately, it does not seem that a horizontal dive is going to work the best. Faskel is still set up to look to use this High Noon, but without the full team, it's not really the shining moment.
And you still have Shatter here, waiting for the opportunity to throw it down. If this does hit, that could just end the fight outright. Pressure onto the shield. They're going to have to drop it soon. This is the part where it gets really tricky as Reinhardt. You have to conserve your shield, but you have to worry about your HP pool at the same exact time. The juggling of 2 HP pools, the shield and your own health bar, is kind of the trickiness of the Reinhardt right now, and now the engage comes through. Trying to charge up, but that should just be a dead Reinhardt. The Shatter is going to guarantee it.
Yeah, that's just not going to be feeling good. The shield was broken. The monkey was split. No bubble in the end. They are just going to fall. Though they do manage to at least build up not only a Transcendence, but a Dragon. Compared to what their opponents are running, that's absolutely massive.
Yeah, they're going to be able to keep staving this off, and this next fight, you're going to be able to have the Transcendence, you have the Hanzo Dragons, you can try to force high ground, like Dragon high ground, force them off, force them back, and then try to clear it from there, retaking with Transcendence, but it's going to be difficult. Your backline's under extreme duress until Keys takes out the cause of such stress, and now it's all open for you to kind of push forward.
Unfortunately, Grizzly, though, is going to be picked off even before that they can truly commit onto the fight, and especially Ranger was alone in the middle of the point, and, well, just gets dived on top of. Even if that high ground is now taken over and Keys just has the best angle to shoot literally anybody, it's not the best position to be. Look at them. They walk on top, they take out Coffee, and now they're walking onto the Reinhardt. Transcendence forced to be used on the point when it falls down to last fight territory, but you don't really have the sustainability long-term. Soggy able to land a beautiful Shatter onto them, but the immortality plus the bomb makes a big enough distraction to where Soggy can't use the hammer. They can't shoot anybody, and it does seem that St. John's, they're gonna manage to get the hold when it comes down to Hollywood.
They are going to be holding here. Second point. A very respectable hold, very doable for them on the attack. I'm gonna expect, I'm gonna interested to see what they kind of go for on the attack. Do they go for the double shield, which has some issues on the attack, just in terms of how it has to be played. It's very slow, and slow comps on attack can It can be very difficult to run and get away with because it does punish you for making mistakes a lot harder as compared to faster compositions where you can get in and get more fights and get more opportunities to win. So it's kind of interesting if you want to run that because if you play double shield comp and you're playing very slow and you only have 3 fights, as opposed to if you're running, let's say, double bubble comp and you have 6 fights, you have 6 more opportunities to win as compared to just 3. And while it is a little bit quote unquote safer depending on the composition or matchup, it is also kind of a risk.
Though, I feel these players really don't mind that risk. They seem very determined to at least whatever idea they go out with, it's what they're going to be stabilizing with and what they're going to be working out. So at this point, I worry if they're not paying attention to the risk, but rather what that reward may be, no matter how difficult it looks like it could possibly turn out to be. However, now we see different switches. We're not looking at any form of dive, double shield. This is just full speed out here.
Yep, gonna be full speeding out here. I wonder if the Sombra is gonna be here. They're just gonna keep this for the. Okay, I was gonna say if they kept the Sombra, it was going to be for the scouting thing where you scout. I don't know what Fiscal's doing, staying a little bit far back. Maybe a bit of scouting themselves. I will be interested to see if they swap anything up. I don't know where this TP is gonna go. It might be a TP onto Cafe. It might be a TP. I mean, really, onto Cafe is the only thing I can really think of. Up high ground is a little bit risky if they're up there because you kind of get just blown up, but it's like right past them on a Cafe, yep.
Now, they have a lot of options, and they really don't mind which one to take. Unfortunately, though, they are just going to get hit with so much burst damage that it does not work in their favor. And, well, everybody who's even trying to escape saw he's able to get a free shatter off of it, pop it down, and now it's basically going to be reset in that ult economy.
I don't like the composition here for I don't like comes in here for St. John's. It has, I mean, this like where are you TPing on this map, right? I mean, like that should also could just be a May. Like you don't have a lot of long range damage with that composition. Now you at least have the Cassidy, you have the Reaper, but I mean, Reaper into any of these characters doesn't really have a great time doing damage. You're gonna be looking for flanks, it looks like, but even then, it's a bit rough.
Beautiful wall, though, managing to catch out Jolton. That charge really only puts you in a position to use that window, but it helps. You take out Ranger, the keys gets picked off. It seems that since they weren't able to kill off Jolton, the rest of the team were able to break that wall and then punish anybody who was poked out. Such a small difference managing to be what makes it for the side of St. John's University.
Yeah, a little bit better though because you have the Cassidy to kind of help you set things up and stun people that get too close. And right there is kind of the peel back. They kind of go a little bit over aggressive there for Ryder, thinking they have the kill dead to rights there onto Jolton Joe, but it just turns out that no, in fact, he has the lamp, and lamp is very cool. But Tyler does come out. I mean, that's kind of some like fading kills, maybe stopping a snowball, but even then, your May's gonna die potentially.
I mean, you do have the respawns, so you have a little bit more time. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world. However, I do definitely feel what you mean. That Blizzard is built, and they have not only a Coalescence, but a Gravitic Flux. Without that May, I don't know how confident they are wanting to push him, while Jolton has a Shatter and those ultimates still built up. They do take their time, and unfortunately, it seems to be getting worse and worse as Keys is falling down.
Yep, Keys goes down. A little bit of an interesting lamp coming out. They're going to have the Coalescence. Beat to counter. Now they're gonna just keep walking forward, run over the Sigma on high ground, keep pressing forward onto the onto this core, and then try to extend that positioning. In fact, I have to back up. Blizzard, bit of some zoning going on here, but it shouldn't be for too long. I mean, this May is dead to rights.
Yeah, it's not going to be feeling too good. We even see some shield dancing, as I'd like to call it, as Jolton really doesn't have to worry about too much. They're managing to get enough staggers to where you can afford to make these mistakes. Unfortunately, Fascal, while using the High Noon, is looking to force them off. There are still people on the point, though Grizzly is going to be traded. They have to run on and touch. The question is, are they going to be able to have the chance to? I would say yes, as they manage to stop the point from being captured. Only delayed, though. We see the Sound Barrier doing the best that it can, but the Blossom on that point managing to help clean it out. Rider University not able to stop it, and well, it seems St. John's, they're going to be able to take us to match point so soon.
Yep, match point already, and like I said, I mean, St. John's is up there for a reason, giving us kind of more of the same of what we saw from Wichita, but without that kind of crumble on second point, so Really just doing a very good job so far. They had a pretty, if I'm not mistaken, they had a pretty poor first point where their Sigma gets insta-picked, and they don't really have that first point. So,
Mhm.
like they kind of reconvene on second. They have a clean loss as opposed to what ended up happening with Wichita, where they didn't have that clean loss, so they end up kind of staggering at the second point. So they just reset tempo and get themselves a second point hold, and from there it's just easy goes, easy does it. And now I'm trying to see more of the same here from Volskaya. We saw a full hold by Wichita. I could definitely see the same thing happening here for St. John's. They already showed they want to maybe go for a double shield. I could see a double shield come out on the defense as well. You have double spam characters, or maybe an Ash Tracer, and you hold the high grounds, and you are just an absolute menace for any team to walk into.
It's going to be a really difficult time now, solely just from the idea that they are going to basically have to be working up for the reverse sweep. And while Ryder definitely have the potential to do it, I think St. John's have more than enough momentum to continue pushing out. And while, yes, you were right, the Sigma, immediately gets melted down, and it was a weird first attack, St. John's are still managing to push through. So when it comes down to that third map, it's going to be absolutely integral. However, we do have to give props where they are. Soggy and Ranger are doing absolutely insane. At least when it comes down to pushing and managing to get these picks out of nowhere. I think that was more evident on their attack rather than the defense, though.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting that Ranger was on DPS and Soggy was on tank for them. I think that it's a little bit of an odd change up to have like your DPS and tank player just swap maps. Like I don't see that happening ever. Like I don't think Overwatch is kind of a game where it's just like the character you're playing for the characters as opposed to like the roles. I think it's definitely a really heavy role based game as opposed to just the characters. So that was quite interesting indeed. And we're gonna be seeing again same sides going in. We're gonna be seeing if that changeup goes back. Like, does Ranger go back to tank and Soggy back to DPS? I mean, I'm interested to see what happens on Volskaya, but like I said, looking out for the defense start here from St. John's. I think, like a defense start for St. John's. I think look out for double shield comp, look out for some sim comp, or look out for the ball comp. I think those two compositions are like the default run compositions right now on Volskaya. So shouldn't see much of that.
We've seen a little bit of here and there, though. Just last, match, we did see the Bastion strategy,
And
teleporting
it
back and forth.
died instantly. So,
Okay,
yeah.
yes, but Vault Sky Industries is still one of those maps where very flexible teams have the opportunity to try anything. And that's my main reason of pointing it out. Whether or not the way you consider the strategy, riders still have options, meaning that this attack is going to be absolutely integral to seeing how they'll be able to do later on in the series. But with it being on Volskaya, a 2CP, that scares me. It's always going to be one of the harder maps to be able to bring your team back from the edge.
Yeah, and it's going to be Volskaya to start this one out, and or not start this one out, end this one out potentially, as we're going to be seeing on the attack something wacky, but defense actually made a spammy rush comp. Interesting. I guess maybe playing to their opponents. A lot of the time, I wouldn't like this into something like a ball dive comp, because what ends up happening is you get around the Reinhardt, and the Reinhardt just feels very useless. And you'd much rather have something like a Brig instead of these Lucio, to like kind of control angles and control flanks. So like that's where I see that being a problem. Into other rush comps and into six man and into double shield, this composition is favored. But like into a ball comp, if I was playing into a team that I knew could run that ball comp, I'd be scared. But I don't think Ryder is that team, so I think it's kind of playing to the team as well. Definitely something you can do is to play to the team for the compositions you run. This comp should beat whatever Ryder wants to come out on.
Well, they're going to take their time more than anything. This is pretty sneaky, I guess. Your opponents aren't going to be hearing you, so they're not set. But you basically were given that space regardless.
Oh, they're doing a tour 1v1 for point.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. That's why we're doing this. Yeah. Go let out. I'll let you guys. I actually have a lot of experience in tour tournaments, actually casting. But go.
Alright, look, we're gonna be seeing the Torb go off the Grizzlies. Gonna be using that Molten Core first. If you stay, then comes out. Gonna be having a little bit more health. And they managed to win it! It seems that even in a Torb scenario, Rider University, they're just not gonna get the edge, but they still managed to switch into Torbs. The fights on this point. It's a little bit funny of a meme, but look at that. They aren't gonna be giving it up so easily, saying, no, this is still our chance. We see the freeze as they continue to go off, but unfortunately, with T-Bone gone, Twitch is quickly following after. This is not a sustainable fight anymore.
Yeah, not a sustainable fight anymore. And really the biggest mistake there for Grizzly was popping that overload so early. What you want to do is you want to have second overload. You kind of want to do so. There's animation canceling you can do. There's also some things with like you backing up and jumping, and there's a lot of stuff in this World 1v1 that's like very technical that I'm not going to get into right now. But generally, case use, if you pop overload, either you have to be hitting that overload instantly, the damage has to come out instantly, or you want overload second. Because if you can kite out the overload and then re-engage with your own overload, like what if you stay dead, then it's just over.
Didn't know so much came out of Tor, but at least Ranger is showing how much that Nanu could do. Unfortunately, though, Ranger does come at the sacrifice of the life. They have the Transcendence managing to charge in, but it's too late to be able to help T-Bone, who charged in, gets immediately countered, and the rest of the team now split off. Not the best feeling in the world, but you're going to be having another chance to move in with different ults to rotate.
Pretty sure that Reinhardt hit the pin and then decided to type MTD. I'm pretty sure that was an MTD. That was quick enough to be MTD, and I hope their fingers are fast enough for it, but seeing the main, the back line, getting caught out, and I don't know if these teams are... I think the beginning of this match has given us an indication of things, but I think it might just be another full hold coming through right now. You have some ultimates to kind of rotate here. You have... beat into nothing basically instead of that shatter, so it's basically, hey, Joey Baloney, just don't get shot or don't get hit with the shatter and you should be fine.
Fair enough, definitely one of those big points. However, you forgot to point out that Grizzly needs to stay alive a little longer. They do make up for it by finding out if you stay in, well, T-Bone setting up for this shatter, just looking to pop it. However, there's so much damage, and Twitch is kind of in the back. They are looking to freeze. They managed to block the bomb and not be frozen fast enough, but the shatter still built. T-Bone has to change their direction over to the counter bomb that was there, able to land that shatter that it did not seem to be able to land through. As that blizzard comes out, we don't see anybody being able to really capture it inside of it, but the Nano Rangers built it and has time to use it for T-Bone. Unfortunately, the rest of the team are gone, and Jolton's going for a little bit of funny gameplay here, managing to get a across the map charge.
Yep, and now we're going to see kinds of, where do they go from here, right? They're running this double flex support, they're running the Honor Zen, it has, like, more damage, more, like, utility with the nade, and, like, Discord, but it's really just more for the damage that they can output. They're going to go for the TP on the left side. There's no ball to boop them off this time, so they are going to live this one, and I don't think St. John's is aware. The scouting has not happened. They're finally maybe sussing it out right now, suspecting it. They call the emergency meeting, and now they know exactly what's going on. They know where the imposters are, and they're going to be trying to remove them, and I hate myself for that entire now.
But look at that shatter! Better transition as we see it land through. Jolton's still going to fall. The Transcendent's able to come back, give the PL. It looks like all they needed was one more fight. The Among Us joke was so upsetting.
It was so bad, yeah.
Ryder were able to finally get the confidence to get you to stop talking, and they're going to be able to take this first point.
I think that was the first Among Us joke I've actually made on EGF, because I just generally don't have to do it. I generally don't have to pull it out for content, and I was kind of just like, how do I do this? And I was just like, you know, I haven't played Among Us in like 8 months, 9 months, so maybe just pull it out once, never again. Obviously gonna give us the second point unlocking here, and now it's kind of on Grizzly. Can they survive? No. Answer? No. Grizzly has kind of been a weak point for them in terms of staying alive so far for this team. So, and now they have Wrecking Ball for the Sim TP, I guess, in case they TP coast again.
Yeah, they do get themselves to the point. Unfortunately, by the time everybody's there, they're already gone, meaning this is just going to go down to another reset and another attempt to try. At least Jolton, though, is able to hit those 360s when it comes to the mouse.
Yeah, and so how can we break this open? They've swapped completely over to this ball comp. They've got off the rush comp. They've got off the fun and games. It's time for some serious stuff here. And it's going to be a bit of a tricky situation here for Grizzly to get in, and T-Bone has no support to help them with the amount of damage that's going to come down. If Discord ever makes his way on T-Bone and that shield ever has to drop for any reason, T-Bone is taking 2 billion damage in about half a second and then regretting life's choices. So let me look at that. Already down to 300 HP. Gonna have to just keep like fearing for their life. I guess unless if you stay just blinks into your hammer.
Yeah, look at that, not needing to worry at all. T-Bone also has a shatter, gonna be looking to set it, lands it down onto the swords with that fire strike. It's gonna be eaten, allowing that Zenyatta and Brigitte to live for a little longer. Eventually, they do still fall, but the amount of time they've given for Fasco to build up to that Bob was absolutely essential. That first tick, not possible. They have to pop out that Transcendence solely to give themselves a chance to get it, but even then, as we're looking onto their opponent's side, St. John's are slowly coming back. They give that tick mansion, get the dash, looking to cancel through it, and while they find out the Reinhardt, that basically solidifies, saying, don't you try again, that tick is all you're getting.
Yeah, but winnable, guys. It's now winnable here, technically for Vider. If they in this next round, they can hold it, they can get the win, it's not going to be a draw. They do have a lot to work with here, though. I mean, you have Transcendence, you have Rally, you have Mines, you're coming up on Blade. I mean, where are the counters coming in? Like, where do your counters come out? You don't have Transcendence. You don't even have a Rally to kind of make space for it. All you have is your 2 DPS ults that aren't really effective at keeping you alive, or more so for just, like, creating space or saving Grizzly's individual life. And even if you stay as dead, they have so much time to stall with these support ults.
All you have is just play better. That's the answer that I have. With that wall splitting up the mines entirely, we see the Doomfist land directly onto the point. The Brigitte is the one who's going to be able to contest until that Transcendence comes out. Now they're just looking for each picks on either side. It's going to be harder for the side of St. John's as they're defending. That bomb goes through, looking to pick off. We see Fasco. It's going to be taken out as the bomb on the opposite side, taking a second, but with the blade, they're able to find out too. Still falling due to the Doomfist Grizzly, but they're giving their team more than enough room. Now in overtime, we need to see Ryder getting those picks. However, they're starting to lose more and more as this comes out. Getting in that even trade, there's Zenyatta still falling. They really only have a Brigitte that's left there on the point. But that's still a tick and a half solidified. And, well, that's what their opponents have to try to beat. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. But, St. John's, will you be up to the task?
I think they should be. They have plenty of opportunities and time and to work with to cap this one out. They also have kind of the I'm just gonna say it, like they have like that level of precision to kind of dissect TCP points that like some teams don't have. Like that's really one of the biggest things about TCP is that like the higher you go, the better of a map it is in terms of like how you can play it, how you can work it, what angles can you take, what parts of the map can you fight for. Those kind of things that are so important on 2CP that aren't as important on some other maps. Like the importance of it isn't as high, so people kind of get like kind of caught up or kind of lost in it. But like they go, it's so different from like an escort or a hybrid where like the amount of those kind of games don't have to be played. So I'm gonna be interested to see this how this ball comp is gonna function. If it will be clean enough, it'll look clean enough because it should. I mean, obviously their defense was clean on second point when they swapped off to it, so I assume the attack is also well drilled.
Doesn't look like they really want to walk out with the Torbjorn strategy. You know, I think that was just essential to point out. But with what we're looking, because I really had to double take, Grizzlies on a Bastion.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I just don't know how it is with this composition.
I don't know why we still have from 2 different teams in a row. I don't like it. Again, we see T-Bone on Reinhardt when he has a Zenyatta Mercy or like Zenyatta Brig. It's just like, it's just not fun. Here's my thing. Ryan, cool character. It's just not fun when you don't have like Ana or Baph or anything. It's just like, you just take infinite damage. I don't know. It's just not fun, but...
don't care, didn't ask, plus beep boop.
Plus beep boop. Okay, I guess we're beep booping. For the Bastion. I mean, how would you dismantle this? I don't know. You just gonna take angles on the Bastion and try and get Discord and right clicks and stuff off. I mean, it's pretty... I mean, like, Bastion's been in the game for so long, and it has had the same playstyle the entire time that it is very...
yeah, but it's working. I mean, you're so focused on the past and you're not noticing the present. As they weren't ready for the Bastion, they get picked off, and now they're being able to move up, see if they could just poke anybody out. And it's got to be a great feeling because they built up to both of their support ults. And, well, that's absolutely what you need right now. What are St. John supposed to do? I mean, you can set up, but look at that. The Bastion is going to fall. I guess that's the biggest point you could do, though. The Res able to give you some room. We see the High Noon go through, being able to take out Twitch's own mech. As Soggy and Ranger both use their support ults, that Bastion able to take out the Doomfizz. The ultimates are just in their favor as they're able to hold it, even if Fascal's able to take out that Bastion in the end.
Should be the Zenyatta dead as well if Fiscal can find another. Maybe it's over, but no. Gonna get taken out. Bastion and Zenyatta both down. Swapping now off of that Hanzo. That's swapping, not swapping off the Bastion, but gonna be walking back right now. They swap off of the Doomfist off to the Hanzo. I like that a lot more. Spam damage into Bastion, especially with one that's not being pocketed too heavily with like double shield or anything, is very effective. But even in that case, spam is the way to go. They still don't have a mech, as I was gonna say that hopefully that their HP was gonna go down there. But not the case.
And you don't even need to worry too much. Look at that bomb, able to take out if you stay. Peeked out a pixel. You need to respect these pixels as Grizzly's in the best position. It's only to take them out. However, Fascal's even in a better position, which is just Fascal moment. Being able to take out not only Ranger, but Grizzly, taking control over to the point the Maze able to stall for a little bit. End up using that cryo, but in the end, you're the only person there.
Yeah, gonna be using the Blizzard. I'm not sure if it's gonna do much. Nope. Gonna be capping off, and I mean, obviously that was a long hold. Like I said, we said earlier, it was like, be wacky. That can work. So wackiness worked for a bit there, but not in the end. And trying to see how it will end out. We still have the Bastion here. Do they just wackiness extend to second point? Again, it's winnable. It's not just like it's not a tie situation. They can win this map technically. So. But there's gonna be so much, like, look at what the Reinhardt's doing, like, just jumping, that's never gonna work.
Ah, that's what you say. Look at that, Grizzly set up. Oh no, the High Noon was directly into them, and the Shatter cleanly through the rest of the opponents, the tank line, the Dragons. It's just everything that they needed to secure close to a team kill, but basically better than that, as they have captured the point, the victory, going over to St. John's 3-0 against Rider University.
Yep, 3-0 is going to be going on. Like St. John's is like that 12-2 team for a reason now, going up to 13-2, obviously. One last week of play, I believe, for the regular season, and they are looking just as strong. And going to playoffs, they should be like a really big contender. Like they're going to be going up against teams. They're going to be going up against teams like Colorado, Marist, William and Mary, and like. I think the big thing for them is that a lot of these top teams are in their conference, and so they've had a lot of times playing against them. They've had a lot of experience against them, so going to playoffs, they're going to be, I mean, there was, well, for the other teams, but like, compared to other conferences, they've had a lot of experience against these top-tier teams, so they are going to be well-drilled into playoffs, and it will be scary.
You're absolutely right. Now it's basically ending off. We're not going to any type of end screen, so you don't need to worry. Rather, we're going to be getting set for the last match of tonight. This was absolutely a show to see, so if you want to make sure that you stay tuned in, just be ready, because we'll be right back after this intermission for the next match.